intro was too long.
And
Who
we're
said that?
live.
Rejected Stone Productions presents To One and All, the Rejected Stone podcast. Real talk about real issues in real time. Your hosts for this Rejected Stone experience, Dr. Zebulon Maletsky and Dr. Jarvis Watson. To Win Day, let's begin.
Ah,
All right. We are live, my brother
yes, sir.
and sisters.
All right. Good to see you, man.
Yeah. Good to see you. Good to be here on the Rejected Stone podcast once again. And I see we got some friends. We are
Oh,
live.
yes.
Thank
Hey
you. Oh,
y'all.
we see the views are coming up. Views are coming up. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now,
Welcome.
it's good to be back in the house. I know it's been a minute. We've been kind of experiencing life in a couple different ways, but I'm glad that we're back in a new kind of format. We are, as I understand, Dr. Molesky, we are being streamed live in several different areas.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we are as promised, and good evening to everybody. Good to see you all. Thank you for joining. We are now on all our platforms. We are on our
There
platforms
you
on
go.
Facebook. We're on our YouTube channel. We're on Twitter now. We are. That's a new thing. We're at Rejected Stone PRO1 for some reason. So that's the one. Yeah, check us out. Well, the reason was I think somebody else had Rejected Stone Productions. Okay, so that's we got but that was we the real one, and so Rejected Stone
Oh,
Pro One.
yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah. So what we about to do today?
Oh, almost losing a little
Technology.
bit. Yeah. So as he's talking, getting
Doc,
situated.
we got some guests, and we have some. Yeah. What do we got happening? And I want to just say good evening to everybody. You know, it's been a week. If y'all's week has been anything like ours, we were just talking about it as we were starting tonight. You know, it's been a very interesting week, and so uh, uh, for that reason, we had brought on some guests tonight. We have two guests who are going to be talking to us and helping us to explore and expand on this tonight's sort of subject and topic, which is hip hop's humanity, and hip hop humanity. And so I'm gonna pass it on to you, Doc. To maybe who do we got on? Who we are? The crew is assembled again. It's Friday evening, and we're back. We got brother Randy and Sister Raina, the two R's, in the house. How y'all doing tonight?
Double R.
Well, hey, that's a good segue,
Whoa.
Dr. J. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Look at that. You didn't even mean for that to happen.
Hey, man, freestyling,
Good.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
We got 5 letters to our names too. So we got ours, got 5 letters to our names.
Whoa.
We from New York,
Yeah.
Now your
from
stuff's coming.
Stony Brook. Keep going.
Now,
We keep going.
now,
We black. We can keep going.
Oh my gosh, this stuff is
I
definitely
cannot.
is bigger than us. But please introduce yourselves. Raina, why don't you go, ladies first? Please let the people know who you are and what you're representing. Also, just let everybody know that this is Rejected Stone Productions, and the things that we talk about are part of Rejected Stone and not part of any institution that we might be a part of. So the things that we're talking about come straight from us and not anyone that we represent. So, Raina, shoot.
Hey y'all. So I'm Raina. I don't even know what I want to say. Definitely a music enthusiast. My preferred genre would be a little bit of R&B. Hit them with a little soul. But I'm definitely a lover of the hip hop area. I'm from Brooklyn, so I mean, Brooklyn Hood is
Yeah.
what it
All
is.
right.
I'm coming to y'all live from Maryland, from Baltimore. Okay, new state, new city, new me, new job, new everything. So we just here to reconnect and just chat it up with the bros.
All right, welcome, sister. Yeah, man. So I passed that mic over to Randy.
Yeah, peace and blessings, y'all. Peace and blessings. I'm one of the double R's. My name is Randy.
I'm about to get t-shirts made now.
Right, like I'll be this. Anyways, music enthusiast is also. I pretty much do a little bit of everything, but my preferred genre is definitely funk. I'm all about the funk, nothing but the funk. But I'm from the boogie down Bronx where hip hop was started. So I'm all about that real hip hop out here. So I know a few things and things about hip hop. I know my history. Me Jarvis. We can talk about things about music and all that. So I'm excited to be here with y'all. Chop it up, learn, and hopefully I can try to school some of y'all. So let's do it.
That's that youth, coming up.
Research. Years in research. That's what it's called.
Well, I'm not. Listen, if anybody knows his catalog and his ability to recall certain things, definitely not the person to mess with. But we're gonna test that knowledge today.
I mean, hip hop ain't that strong, but we're gonna do it. Let's come on.
Oh, okay. We got our first controversial topic. All right.
I'm staying out of it.
Hey, it's Friday. We have jobs, but we have something else we got to do. So let's see it. Let's talk about it. What do we have seen a lot of stuff happening. We have seen a lot of stuff happen in the last few weeks. We've lost some folk, and we have really seen in the media and stuff like that a lot of discussions about names that mean something to a lot of us, names that some of us love, artists that represent a time maybe in our past or in our own backgrounds, that touched us, and to see sometimes some of those folks kind of like talked about in a way that's not really with kindness, not with compassion, not deserving of somebody that has lived a life that has touched people, right? Even regardless of anything, you've touched people, you taught people, and I think we lost some of that, and that's one of the reasons why we're calling this hip hop's humanity, because we lost a little bit of that, seems to me, and especially the media coverage and some of the unkind things and stuff that were said and about various people, because there was a week there where we just lost some giants in the hip hop experience. Talk to us about that. What are y'all feelings about that during this time? And my condolences to you all and everybody else who we lost those people that we love.
Man, I'll start it off and then just kind of pass the mic. To have Black Rob, Shock G, and end up with DMX, to be lost in the same month.
Say that
was a big hit for me, because I'll start with Shock G, the one who introduced me to Tupac. That was hip hop in a whole another aspect. I mean, being a Jersey guy, being an East Coast guy, really vibing with something that was happening from the West Coast. I mean, something totally different from NWA, something totally different from like KRS-One, the East Coast, but not feeling that it was out of place. Black Rob had you like I remember dancing to that, whoa, to create a whole new language, like, oh man, that was whoa, oh. Woe could have a lot of different meanings, but that when that song came on, everybody got live. No matter how you feeling, you hear those violins playing, like, oh shit, it's about to go live. But the X, losing X was like part of my maturity, because I think when X came out, it was like this new genre of hip hop came out of the like as we left out of the 90s, starting in the 2000s. It was like the 99, 2000 kind of like era. There was all these new artists like Nori, Big Pun, Fat Joe, all these cats that were coming out. Actually, Fat Joe was out already, but they had this group that was coming, this new flavor. And X was like Rough Riders, you know, to see a bunch of grown dudes like came to the hood, motorcycles, those like something.
Wood.
You know, and one of the songs "Where the Hood At," that was probably the hoodest video I could ever see. But you know what? We own our image. We own our voice. We own our anger. We own our emotions. And X could, out of all three of them, like really encapsulated what it meant to be black in America, a black man in America. No matter what, I'm still the dog ain't gonna get destroyed. It's like no matter what you throw at me, I'm gonna keep shining. I'm gonna keep. And then when he growled, yo, I don't care how your day was. Yo, you hear that growl? Yo, yo, everybody get out my way. You know, yeah. So to lose all three of them, man. Yeah, that was something that we definitely want to kind of touch on later. I don't know, Raina, Randy.
I could go. Yeah, I mean, X in itself was a movement. You feel me? The man dropped 2 #1 albums in 1 year. You know, you don't hear that, you know, except for outside of Stevie Wonder. But like he was a movement, you know, and the fact that it was great to see him on Versus. You know, that I'm so glad that Versus are bringing back the old heads, you know, from hip hop, and then having the new generation watch, you know, because me at the age of 26, like I saw when DMX was rising up, but I didn't really know the full impact because, you know, I'm just a kid, you know. But now looking back in the history and all that, I was like, wow, I didn't realize that he was so big. In 1999, yeah. Belly, that was such a movement. Rough Riders, that was such a movement. But the thing about X, as y'all was touching on earlier, like he was unapologetic, you know. And I feel like the generation that we're living at right now, especially these kids, they're learning about X, and they're like, "Yo, he was really by himself," because you don't really hear rappers of his caliber in the middle of an album praying to Jack God. You know? It's like, oh my Lord, please help me with the family. Me, that is like, bro, he's really stepping out of his comfort zone.
Oh,
and you know, hit that song. But then you have hip hop artists right now, or at my age, doing their thing, you know, and living unapologetically with their music. And you look back at what DMX is doing, like DMX really implements this generation's confidence to be themselves and use hip hop as a motivation to get the emotions out. And that's what hip hop's all about. Emotions against feelings and the beat of the music and rhymes and lyrics. So X to me was a movement. And that's what we may never see again.
I agree. I feel like that one hit me really hard. It definitely hit me hard. And I just felt a sadness that we as a people had, and we all were just sad, you know, together. Because it was first of all, let me pause and say, I hate the fact that the media always wants to take something and spin it for the negative. And so I was really upset that his headline was "Rapper who struggled with addiction is now dead," and I was like,
"That's it.
Why? What does that have anything to do with anything? This is a man who is a pillar for our community. Can he be just that? You know, it has nothing to do with his shortcomings and the things that he had to overcome. He was just who he was, a great man, you know, a great father, and a musical giant. Can he just be that? You know, and I feel like that's part of what I really dislike about the media and their ability to kind of just take I don't want to say take our power away from us, but kind of devalue us for who we are and what we bring to the table. Because to me, DMX is like my childhood. DMX is, you know, just the rugged man. He never had to clean himself up to fit in with society. He was always just raw and authentic. And, you know, to Randy's point about him praying in the middle of an album, if you've never seen DMX in concert, you missed out on life. And I can say I went to one of the best concerts ever, which was the Bad Boy reunion concert, and we actually went in Philly. Yo, best thing I probably ever experienced. When you saw the red light come up with his letters on the screen, it was, I mean, pandemonium. Just, I mean,
wow.
if you want to break the house, like it was one of the best things ever, and I really cherish the fact that I actually got to experience that, because there's so many, you know, musical artists that we you know, we all probably wish we could have seen in concert, seen live, you know, whatever, what have you. And for me to have that experience and to have it in Philly, and, you know, just know that he did a lot for Philly, he did a lot for New York, you know, him being from New York, it was just the best thing. I mean, a little Brooklyn girl in Philly watching DMX, I mean, come on. It was one of the best experiences of my life. And I truly love the fact that with DMX, as much as we could talk negative about him, one of the things that I really will say that I truly appreciate is he allowed female artists to be themselves. If they wanted to be extra sexy, cool. If they wanted to be rough and tumble, cool. If they wanted to blend the two, he allowed them to really have their authentic face. And he just was like, yo, I'll compliment you, whatever it is that you need, you know. And I can just appreciate that. You know, he just wanted women to shine, you know, in a different type of light. Like, we could be multifaceted women. We didn't just have to be just one way. And you know, I really think that if you are of a certain age and older, you this one hurt, because this was like, yo, this is my dude. You know what I mean? This is my homeboy. You know, we all felt a certain level of personal connection to him. So just that, I mean, and that week just alone, it was, you know, they say they come in threes, and so
yeah.
So it literally came in threes. And you know, with Black Rob was just like, I mean, growing up in Brooklyn, you know, during that time, during the 90s and early 2000s and stuff, that was us. You know, this is what we wanted to do. We had a certain language, we had a certain swag, just based on things like the word whoa, you know. And I mean, it took on so many different connotations, you know, we could use it in so many different contexts. It was a culture. So it's just sad, you know, just, yeah.
Well said. Well said.
Yeah, man. Nah, just I actually had a chance to see the X at an old school concert, and he was a headliner, you know, and he started off a little rough, but toward the end, yo, he just got stronger and stronger and stronger. And a couple people left, but the true fans stayed. And so what he did was had a talk in between each song, and he engaged with the crowd, and at the end he did his prayer. But the thing he did at the end, I was like, yo, this is my man right here. He said, "Thank y'all for staying. I know what y'all expected, you know, sometimes, you know, but I for y'all that are still here with me, I love y'all." And he, yo, it was like, yo, we love you back, yo, we love you, X. You know, it was like, yo, I'm glad I was there at that time to say I saw him live, and I felt whatever he was going through. You got to think about it. Whatever he was still performing. Think about his catalog. He did every hit he did.
That's a lot of hits.
He gave the crowd something.
I get a sniffle sometimes. I'm like, you know, I don't know if I can get to work. And my office is like 2 doors away, like 2 steps away from my bedroom. Oh, baby, I don't know if I can do it today. This man was going through whatever. He said he's to go to jail just to get away from all the other stuff, so he wouldn't get in trouble, like get the trouble away from folks. Yo, that's somebody special. And for us to lose cats like that, man, how many genuine people can you actually say you know?
Yeah.
Beyond your 5 fingers, you know, beyond the people that, you know, beyond the millions of people that we know, that we engage with. How many people can you really say really got your back, or really can tell you what's up, even if you don't want to hear it? But to have that in hip hop, and I think to Randy's point, like, you know, there's some there's some questions about hip hop in certain areas. Where is the authenticity? Where is the realness? And like I said, to lose that, the thing that I draw energy from. I don't know. I'm getting choked up as I'm talking about it because it's like, man,
But take your time.
This is a legend. Yeah.
Nah, that's X right there. His legacy is going to continue even after. And I know his album's dropping next Friday.
Oh man.
Right.
Which again, he was working on that before he passed away. So the fact to know that he was still working, actually, again, as I said, as I bring it back to Versus, like when he was on it.
Yo, he was dancing. Yo, that was one of the best things to ever experience because it's like, yo, he really had fun. It was so nice to just see him where we were celebrating him, and he was standing right next to Snoop, like, yo, you know what I mean? And it's just dancing. Yo, he just has such a good time. Just the fact that, and this is, sad to say, but the fact that he was able to get that, in his lifetime. It's unfortunate that we're in a pandemic and we had to do that. But the fact that, Versus Tim Swiss really said, let's give him his due. Like, let's do justice by this. Man, let me tell you, I know that probably really hurts them because it's like, we decided to bring him, onto this platform. But now to say that they are responsible for one of the best and last images that we have of him, that's a whole other level of responsibility.
Yeah. Man. In my head, I'm just thankful that we gave him his flowers when he was here. He's not one of those other hip hop artists that was like, oh damn, he died. Damn, I wish I bumped his music the other day. Oh, I wish I thought about him or her the other day. It's tough because hip hop is losing people that had 50 yet. You know what I'm saying? Like there's some artists that were like really like carry the movement, carry the history of hip hop, pass away, and they're supposed to be storytellers, supposed to be ones in and down hip hop, and it's going to be hard, especially the hip hop historians, to be like, yo, this dude did this, that, and that, but and you keep passing down story to story, and keep hearing from people to people, even though the people that worked with him, not work with him, but the people that passed away, they're gonna misconstrue these stories. So it's like you're not going to get the real story because people want to get money in their pockets and keep it moving. But the true, like Biggie, Tupac, the pillars of 90s hip hop, the pillars that basically created modern hip hop now. Now we have Jay and Diddy and media and social media. Is like, oh, why are they the billionaires and why they do this and why they do that? And it's like, I understand that nobody's perfect and we live in a world that is capitalist. We run in a capitalist country. Brothers and sisters gotta get paid. But the fact that they're investing, they should. I mean, hopefully they're investing back in the community. I know Diddy's investing back in the community because the other day his high school in Harlem reached 100% of all students are going to college. So like you see the community that hip hop is giving back. But again, Jay and Diddy, pillars of hip hop, and they're the ones are up there. And I don't know why we keep hating on them, because at the end of the day, they're the ones that really carry the weight of hip hop to this generation into today. So it's like it's sad that we're seeing our hip hop pioneers just pass away even before the age of 50. But the ones that we have now, especially the ones that made it, why are we not showing them the love that we showing them? And I bet God forbid, knock on wood and all that, if Diddy and Jay will, when they pass away, they're gonna be like, oh, you love Jay, you love him because he did this, that, and that. But like, yo, we got was damn, went with the whole NFL thing. Damn, with the whole $1 billion thing. People are not perfect. That DMX was not perfect, but he showed his emotion and his stories in the music, in the concerts. Like, we followed him. You feel me?
You know, it's funny. You bring them up, and it's funny. Like, you have Jay-Z and you have LL Cool J that are going into the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
You know, toward the end of this year, and I'm glad to see them like on Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as opposed to unsung. You know,
Right.
it says a lot to those who can really talk about longevity, who can talk about how you take it from, well, just say Jay-Z's beginnings, where he was like out there hustling. And then he took that intellect and kind of used another type of hustle. And then every 10 years or so, you see him evolve into something else. And like I said, to kind of get on him about like, well, why is he doing this stuff with NFL? I'm like, because he's a billionaire. That's what billionaires do. They make mergers, they do acquisitions, they make decisions that affect probably 3,000 people's lives, and say, yo, he's not that guy anymore. And I think to the other point is like, hey, man, I wish DMX could get to that point where he could be that mogul, where he could be the one that owns like 3 or 4 different group homes or something like that. He's giving back in a way that everybody talks about. I don't. Everyone that I've seen give like a testimony is like, yo, what he did for me, he looked out for me. You know, there's some other things on Drink Champs that he talks about a little bit in regards to shout out to Nori, about his illegal activity, but there was still some love in it, you know, in the conversation. I'm like, man, we're talking about some really wild stuff, but we're laughing and we're seeing that we actually still giving like DMX a pass to kind of like, because we knew it wasn't just about him being DMX, it was about this system that's out there that created the DMX, that created some of these other cats. That the fact that somebody passed him crack and weed,
at the age of 13,
without telling him, and that's somebody you considered a friend. So we get it. We got a number of difficult friends that were like, man, oh boy, here we go again. But we understand like maybe there's some things that have been working on this particular individual that got him to that point. So we give people some space. You know, sometimes we give a whole lot of space. Like, yo, you know, I'll see you later. I'll be over there.
Yeah.
We get it. We get it because how many DMXs do we know? There's a DMX right down the block from me. You know, and my wife was like, why are you always talking to him? I said, because if I don't, he'll be the one that you're gonna come for. But you got to show them love and respect at all times.
Right.
Yeah. Something about, I don't know what you're about to get into, Zeb. So go ahead. I'm rambling.
No, I was really just affirming. I was probably on a delay, affirming, just saying right because you know, and I want you to continue. I was just saying right because I'm just loving this, you know, because when you and I talked about this, it was like, you know, what was the thing that was so upsetting about that time was the lack of humanity shown. Articles talking about homes that you lost, homes that you burned through, and this kind of thing. You know, a lot of times we say, you know, we try to give people their flowers while they're there, you know, still alive to smell them. And in this case, they weren't even giving flowers to you at the end. They're giving you, you know, negative feedback, negative commentary, and a whole kind of sort of, I would say, an older mentality about hip hop linked to criminality in people's minds. You know, there was no consideration of the fact that, you know, we have hip hop artists that have become Nobel laureates and have become, you know, have won like major awards, who have affected humanity.
And Tonys and
you know what I'm saying? And so we're still stuck with that kind of like mentality. Okay, this came from the gutter, and so it's not worth anything.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was thinking about Nas and Illmatic and how much of a foundational kind of CD that was, or album that was, and to know that from there now he's at Harvard and he has his own fellowship with some type of academic connection from Queensbridge to Harvard.
Sharing his name, yeah, right.
It's crazy.
You know, and like I said, the things that you see, Muscle Bound, so and so, Ruffian, passed away. Like, you don't get a chance to write this narrative. That's no. As soon as I read 3 lines into it, I just like, I would say rip it up, but we don't have paper like that no more. So I just deleted it off my.
As you should.
You did one of them glory. Tear it up.
Straight up, man.
Yeah.
But like I said, I know that we're of a different generation, all of us here. Like, is there people like that when y'all were coming up, you saw people that really inspired you through music, that were lost, that were taken too soon from you, that you can recall, and how that made you feel?
Definitely Nipsey.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely Nipsey.
That's a good one.
You saw the rise of that brother, and his hip hop game changed. His first mixtape, Now You Listen to Dedication, or no, sorry, Dedication, on Victory Lap. Dedication, the name is one. The Victory Lap, that album, 360 change. Now he's talking about building wealth. Building your neighborhood. Making sure that the people that live in your neighborhood is well fed and getting their money. Making sure they're getting taken care of. And I think that's what Nipsey was trying to do down there in LA, especially with that store, because I heard that his store was that spot where a lot of people just came in and just did a lot of things. I think he did I think there's a studio in there too. I forgot it was a documentary I was watching, and I think he did a studio. He built a studio in that store too. Like, he was making sure that in South LA that there was an escape, and one dumb mother lover had to just, so that really, really hit a lot. It hit me too. I was like, dang, man, that was a brother that was on the up and up. The up and up, So yeah, Nipsey and Mac Miller. Yeah, Mac Miller. You could take Mac Miller. That on my birthday
was really sad, and I think that goes kind of with the whole, people suffering with silent illnesses and issues, and nobody really reaching out, because we pull from these people, we drain them. We want their talents, but we don't want their difficulties. And there's many artists that we ignore the fact that a lot of what they do and a lot of what they say are really cries for help, because it's entertaining and pleasing to us. So we ignore the message, and we just want the tunes, we want the beats, we want the, we want that, we want the stuff that makes us feel good or allows us to detach from our issues, and not realizing that, a lot of what they're going through is really, some sad situations. And even getting back to what you were saying, Dr. J, about the whole, DMX situation, it's like, he was robbed of his childhood, and you have to think back to the fact that a lot of what his music was basically him telling us what the heck he went through as a child. So, and many people can resonate with that because they're going through the same thing. But instead of saying, this, brother, let's help him out, let's make sure that he has the resources, we pull, we drain, because it's good for us. It's temporary gain for who we are, the ones boohoo crying when we lose them, and it sucks. Just what we were saying about the whole Mac Miller, just such a talent that just gone because he was battling issues, and I think that's so much of what I think this younger generation is experiencing, because they've overglorified sex, money, and drugs to a different degree than when we were growing up. It was gang banging and stuff, but them, it's not even gang banging. It's themselves. It's really them taking it on themselves. And who was the young rapper who was on the plane? I always forget his name.
Juice WRLD.
Yeah,
Juice WRLD, yeah.
And it's so you are now no longer living because of drugs that you could have been in jail, but now you're not, because the drugs were important to have. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just the logic. Like, where's the logic? Where's the, understand? I can't understand that. But then now, when you dissect that, he was really struggling with something, and nobody around him was like, yo, you don't got to do that. Like, y'all let him do that? You know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say? And for me, we were talking about it before we went on air. For me, I think the worst celebrity death for me, and it's still to this day will always plague me, is Aaliyah's death. And it wasn't anything that was, self-inflicted. That's arguable, for some people. But it wasn't violence. It wasn't drugs. It was literally a disaster. And when you think about that, and you put her and Left Eye and Kobe in the same sentence, and it's just like, you never know you're gonna be snatched, and you can be snatched at the height of your and by things that are not of you, and it's just really tragic because those are the types of people that they were just, well, at least, Left Eye and Aaliyah, they were just, and we think about people like Kobe who was pivoting. We talk about, you come up in one area and that's where we feel that you belong. But he was, what did he win, an Oscar? Or he won
an Oscar for his animated feature, short animated feature.
His animated short story. And it's just like, why are we not talking about that more? Why are we not, why didn't we have that moment to really praise him for doing something so different than just being a ball player? Like, he didn't just use his height to play ball. He used his height to be in different areas. He was major for, if you know it, for 90s sitcom culture. He was always making a cameo as somebody's boyfriend or somebody's, love interest.
Moesha was ahead.
I mean, how powerful is that? He was like everybody's little brother. He was in a lot of music videos and his own music videos.
Yeah.
But, it's just amazing. And of course, I feel guilty because it's like we was just taking them for granted. So it just sucks. It really does. I don't think music is ever going to be the same, especially now that we are losing a lot of these great artists who crossed over into different genres of music as well.
I would like to say Kobe's album is not bootleg. So if you want to go find Kobe's album, I think back in 97, 99, 89, and 99, you can find it on the internet.
I remember him and what's her name? What's the model's name? Not Tyra. Is it Tyra Banks? Yeah, Tyra Banks. Doing a show together. That was the saddest.
I'm staying out of this.
Right. I don't have anything to add to this conversation.
But once again, Kobe was like, "If it's there, I'm gonna try it."
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And then, did that open up the door for Dame Dash to do what he's doing? You never know. So this hip hop and sports and everything that's connected is all connected with us. Yeah.
Are we still inviting Dame Dash to the cookout?
Not the cousin.
Not Dame Dash.
Not the
cousin. Damian Lillard. I call him.
I was like Dame Dash.
I'm sorry, Dame Dash. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Dame Dash definitely call us. You know what I'm saying? Damian
Lillard would be a basketball player and try to be a hip hop artist. Yeah.
But I remember that line, from, I think it was Nas, rappers be denied of executive 9 to 5. And it's like, what about benefits? What about things that people need, burial stuff, health insurance, life insurance? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's good with job security for our artists, so many of whom have been,
that's a good point.
As we know, money ain't always right. Been through the fight. You know what I mean? We see it on Unsung. It's coming on tonight. So it's like shout out to Unsung as usual. But you know what I'm saying? I feel like my signal's going in now, so I'm gonna pull it back. But I think that that's, people need benefits. People need job security. Is there a union? What's good with the hip hop union? Dental.
Is there hip hop retirement home? You know what I mean?
Jay,
I want vision and dental. You see,
Yo,
Look, some of us want
hip hop
vision.
community, hip hop
And so we
village.
just
You know.
regular employees, but that's besides the point. No, I feel like there's not enough. There's people pulling from you. You know, there's not enough people teaching you, and I feel like they don't pass down the knowledge. But then, you know, I think as generations go on, we get this. I got it. I know better. I know this. You know, and so you know, victims to our own mind and our own, you know, free will in a lot of ways. But I mean, I think we need to have more of a conversation about financial security, the longevity of that, you know, and we think of like, you know, when we talk about the money stuff, I know there's, you know, a couple of artists and groups that come to mind. The first one that comes to mind was TLC and how they over here dropping albums, doing all this stuff, and they're like, we're bankrupt. And it's like,
yeah.
you know, what are we doing? You know, what are we doing to support these people? And what happens after the well runs dry? What do they do? You know, are we teaching them skills? We plucking them when they 16. They barely, you know, probably don't even have a high school diploma, or GED, or anything. And so, what happens when there's no more? What happens when that heightness of that time runs out? What they gonna do then?
Yeah. And once again, that's a good point. Like, I'm thinking of like being a student athlete. You know, whoever gets on the field or on the court, you're thinking, oh, that's gonna be the next whatever. You know, but if you don't have this thing inside your brain, like, you know what, it's gonna be to a point where my body's gonna give out before my mind does. And being that's the case, I need to put some things in priority. You know, I knew I was a good football player, but I wasn't the greatest or the best. And I said, you know what, I'm gonna take this sports thing and help me get to the next level.
Right.
And a lot of times that we try to school some of the most exceptional athletes, like, hey, you're gonna be exceptional for a brief minute.
Right.
And like we look at the scale of when you're gonna be on this football field or this basketball court, what are you doing to take advantage of that? So I guess my best example would be not Kobe Bryant, but LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron knows, like, like everybody's trying to pimp him, and he kind of said, all right, I'm gonna pimp y'all back. But now he is like has his own production company, has his own what's that agency, sports agency.
Yeah.
Like, while you're playing, you're still representing other players, which I'm like, I've never seen nothing like that before. And has his own school.
Mm-hmm.
And music label.
And, he has a music label too?
Oh, he has a music label. Yeah. His first production album was with 2 Chainz. Two albums before. Yeah. He executive produced 2 Chainz.
And he's now in film. So I mean,
Space Jam and Legacy.
Yeah, he about to kill it. And I was not, and this is all full honesty, I was not the biggest fan of him when he first came out. I was just like, oh, he gonna be another one of the little arrogant SOBs. But then I realized his mind was different. He had a different hustle. You know, he was like, this is the gateway. And now, man, nothing but respect. And the fact, let me just be the lady on the show. He loved his wife, honey. Okay, hello, yes. I love Thea and the family and just him doing the family thing. It's like, we need that. We need to see more Black love, Black family, and Black fathers who are raising their children, who are in their children's lives. To see him at his son's basketball games and to see him be soft with his daughter, I'm like, this is me. I think that's what got me before everything else. I'm like, I could deal without the basketball. It's the man that I enjoy seeing on social media and on TV. He is a great man, and I think that he is a good role model of how you take one thing and you make it, tenfold blossom. You make it just more grand and have more substance than just being a one-trick pony. Because he could have ended up like what's the basketball player that they was just trying to find? Demonte, what's the man name? I forgot.
Oh, Delonte West.
Yeah, him. He could have been just like him, talented, right. And just no support and just nothing.
Yeah. God bless that brother. Yeah, that brother went through the storm. Yeah.
But no, true words what Rain was saying, definitely more Black love in the face of anything black media, black entertainment. Like outside the James, what other black families do you know? A fictional family called the Huxtables. Everybody's like, yeah, you still want to be like the Huxtables. The Huxtables. I mean, not the brother that's playing the Huxtable, but the family.
Context.
Context.
Good clarification.
Like you still got people saying, yeah, trying to have my family go about the Huxtables. I can't say that word, but it's like, yo, it's you don't see it out here on the streets like that, and once you like put it up in media, everybody like gravitate towards it, and it can be problematic, can be an issue, and that would definitely allow some people like, yeah, I'm done with the marriage, I'm done being with you because I can't take the public pressure anymore, but to go back to the conversation to why we don't have a hip hop community household, whatever, put it in terms of the music industry, because industry rule 4090, record companies are shady. Shout out to Q-Tip. It all starts with royalties and masters. That is your benefits and your health insurance and your and this and that and your meal ticket and all that, right? So I'm a Prince fan. If everybody watching, they don't know I'm a Prince fan, and Prince definitely was hip hop was influenced from him, right? So I don't know if you remember, actually going back to DMX story and the what was the podcast again? Yeah, so like, oh, Brother Prince, he grabbed me in the club, and he told me about my masters, and it's like, yo, that brother was battling with Warner Brothers, one of the largest music labels, still one of the largest music labels of today. He was like, yo, give me my masters, because that is where my money is. That is where I can sell my stuff, So now going to hip hop, you see people like a J. Cole or a Drake, or who has their own label. The artists that have their own label, starting off, I think No Name has their own label. They have their own label, and they're the ones like, yo, this is why I'm in, because I'm the one selling my money. It's a risk. A lot of these artists nowadays just like, yo, record label loves me. I'm gonna perform on the table like Bertie Schmutta at front of Epic Records, just dancing on the tables like, here's your record label, and then once you get arrested and go to jail, they don't got your back, but they gained your money from Hot Negro. They're still getting your money, So that says a lot. It says a lot, especially when the label's being sold to a bigger label like Motown, and in the 1980s got sold right into Universal. Not a lot of Motown artists got their masters back. Some of them died without their masters, and you have one brother living in the island, taking all the royalties and everything in. So it starts with artists owning their own art, owning their own masters. I understand that having a record label places you in a top notch. You get to be mastered. You get to be promoted. You don't have to pay a thing. You get all this money. Like all you're doing is making music and touring. But then once you become a TLC and you sell 10 million albums, and you're like, where the money at? Pebbles has it in her pockets.
Hello.
It's an all too familiar tale.
That's an amazing music video. That cost $7 million. Where's the $7 million at? Where's $7 million at?
Give me my money.
$10 million. I mean, that's nice. Where's my money at?
That's what it's 5 harpies time.
That's hilarious.
He said hours of 9 and 5. Yeah.
I was actually watching an interview yesterday on Instagram. I don't know if y'all follow the page Talk to Pops. He's a young Black kid who's just killing it right now with social media. He is big with music and pop culture and in the industry. And he was actually interviewing Amanda Perez. And so I don't know if y'all remember Amanda Perez, but she is this Spanish girl. She was like a singer, but she was real like rough and tumble, like, tatted up, and she did that song Angel, and I think I Promise, something like that. Anyway, long story short, they were talking about the fact that she said, I never have to work ever again in life because I own my masters. And to hear it come from somebody like that, where for us, she was a 2-hit wonder. You know what I mean? She had 2 good songs and that was it. And the fact that she's like, no, I'm set for life because I own my masters. So whenever y'all want to play these songs, run me my coin. I was like, oh, okay, you know, and it was just dope to hear that from someone like her, because that's not somebody that we would typically look to as inspo of who did it right. Because we're now, you know, we would probably say that she would be on an unsung, you know, or at least we would think that she would be on an unsung. But she's like, no, I'm straight. Like I'm real good, you know. And I was like, wow, you know, these are the types of conversations that we don't have in terms of the music industry and how to set yourself free. I mean, I think now there's a little bit of that, you know, there's a little bit of that sort of conversation and, you know, owning yourself, like Randy was saying, owning your artistry, owning your music. And I remember one of my favorite artists, not hip hop, but just one of my favorite artists, because she's a singer, honey, is JoJo. And JoJo, just being in the industry so young, and she literally lost her voice. She did not own her own. Yeah, right. How does that happen? How do you not own your own voice?
Say it again. Somebody got the label on her voice.
Basically, for some years, she did not own her own voice. She was owned
by. She owned the legal right to use her own voice.
Right. Yeah. She didn't have the legal right to use her own voice. So why JoJo went broke for like a
Mickey Mouse.
She was on the Mickey Mouse Club. She was real young. The little cute little white girl. You know, she was real cute. And she was real, you know, like teeny pop. But she didn't own her own music. But she was like the young girl that had like that big voice. And we was like, oh, she gonna take over. She is like the young Mariah, you know. And she just fell off the face of the earth. And it was because she did not own her own voice. And so he talks about that a lot. And so what she did to basically kind of, you know, hold them by the balls, so to speak, was to say, all right, well, I'm going to release a whole lot of free music. Now what you going to do? Well, that's what she did. She released music. And she just said, well, you're not going to make $1 off of me. And if I'm not going to make $1 off of me, we're all just going to be suffering. And so she took it and ran with it. But again, having good people in your corner, you can manipulate and do things like that. And so now what she did was she revamped as an adult all of her old music from when she was a kid. I mean, amazing talent, amazing voice. But that just goes to show you, it's not about color. It's not about, you know, talent, lack thereof talent, and the bigness of their music. It literally just is a luck of the draw in terms of how much information you have about the music industry and the people that you have behind you that are going to be supportive and steer you in the right direction.
Oh man, good point. Because I was thinking about this guy. I think we talked about this when we were eating wings the other day. YBN Corday, and I was watching something on Earn Your Leisure. There's another podcast that's out there, a bunch of young brothers who talk about investments and stuff like that. And when he was talking, he was saying how Roddy Ricch gave him advice about investing in Bitcoin and all these other things. He was just like, man, I don't know about that, you know. But the fact that it's not just being in the hip hop industry and learning how to rap, it's almost like, all right, what you gonna do with your money? And something he said that's why I said sometimes we overlook some of the younger folk. Like, oh man, you just a little young rapper. But if you sit and listen to his intellect, I'm like, man, this is a sharp dude. Yeah. And not knowing that he's been investing, the way he was running down the things he invested in, he was like, I was like running in Apple, Rocket Mortgage, and so on and so on. I'm just listening to him like, wow, I'm like 40 plus. I'm like, I still haven't invested in things like that he's talking about, you know. And I think sometimes we have to make sure that we have family members or anyone going into this industry, you know, do your market research first. Learn about all these things that are about to come at you, and understand like where are you on the hierarchy as regards to who gets the most money or who's able to have the most power. Mm-hmm. And if not saying you can't start at this particular level, but I see people like him already understanding like if I'm getting all this money, I'm not just going to be spending on a car or a big house or what people have. You know, disrespect vaults. I just saw a vault of that had a whole bunch of sneakers in it from the floor to the ceiling. I'm like, hopefully those things are appreciating that the fact that you had to spend money to create a vault. And probably my wife is probably like, ain't nothing wrong with that, you know. The thing is, the fact that I feel a little better for this generation coming up because they're like, all right, we were paying attention, we're watching what's happening, and we gonna make sure that even for our future kids, maybe their grandkids, they're gonna not have to worry about. If I don't get my master's, at least I'm still investing this money in something else and never knowing what's going to happen. And now I'm really hoping that this next generation coming up is starting to become more communal with that, more connected, more community based, more sharing of information. Because sometimes it's like, well, if I got it, I ain't gonna share with nobody else. I'm just going to be stingy with it. This is not a time to be stingy because there's a number of people right now forming up against the people of color that don't want us to succeed, and I think we really need to make sure that we don't give them extra fuel to do that. But the more that we can start doing things like this, have these conversations, and owning our own narrative, I think if anything, that's a subcontext of this conversation. Not just owning our narrative, owning our wealth, owning our health. You know, I just bought some equipment so even if I can't get to the gym, I can work out in the backyard, you know, to make sure, you know, that my blood is flowing. I bought a bike to make sure I'm still trying to work on my diet, but you know, God help me. But the thing is, what are we doing to take more control over our future, over our present? You know, so yeah.
One of the things that I find the most interesting. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I'm just giving a preview real quick. I don't want us to forget about a man named Shock G, and I'm going to play something in a few minutes, but I want to, you know, I'm lining it up and I want to cue it up for y'all. But Raina, go ahead, what you was going to say.
I was really going to say, to piggyback off of what Dr. J was saying, that's actually a good point. You know, owning our own narrative, but also giving other people opportunities, I think is really important. So the fact that you wanted to bring it back to Shock G and just his connection to Tupac in history, I feel like that's what we need to continuously see more of. Is to be able to see that our Black culture is being passed down to other Black people. Because although I talked about, you know, the JoJos of the kind, yeah, she was a little white girl, you know, and, you know, being praised for her mix of, you know, a little bit of hip hop, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Well, that's our, you know, our culture, so to speak. And so we need to be able to, you know, give back to ourselves, give back to our people, be able to, you know, raise up and train up, you know, our culture. And one of the things that, you know, we haven't even talked about this person, but I think it actually hit me. He's a young kid from Brooklyn, and he's Panamanian. And, you know, just the fact that like 50 really took him under his wing and was like his big homie mentor, like silently. You know, people really didn't realize until his album dropped how much of an influence that 50 really was to him. And it's so crazy because that hurt, because I was like, he was 19, like he was a baby, you know, and then this is the thing about our culture that I think, you know, is twofold. We have to be very careful about how reckless we are with our culture and how open we are with our culture, and the fact that we damn near give it away freely. But then the other side is other people feeling like they can take it from us. People who don't have, feeling like they can just have it too. So now you got, you know, you and your homeboys in jail because you just, I liked his chain. I just ran up in his house and just took his chain because he was negligent and posted his address on Instagram. Like, you know what I mean? It's that I just, it saddens me. And when I think about, you know, people like Shock G and Tupac, here it is, a man who, you know, just had this quirkiness about him, who saw something in somebody else who had this ruggedness, that he was just like, nah, you got talent. Let me help you along the way. And that's what we need. We need mentorship. We need support. We need guides. And it should be within ourselves, not just the, I'm going to go out and find love him dearly, but I'm going to go out and find the next Justin Bieber or Justin Timberlake. It's like, no, find the next pop. You know what I'm saying? Find the next young little Black kid from the hood who needs to get plucked and get put on a pedestal because, you know, you need to do something other than just selling dope on the corner.
Yep, thank you. You know, that's a perfect segue. I want to try to show this clip real quick, and we're getting fancy now. We're going to try our best. Let me see if I can play this real quick for y'all. It said, I see ladies shaking out.
When you say ladies, 5 minutes of technical difficulties.
My brother, let me surprise you. Hold on a minute. Let me try this
Humpty
now.
Hump and Slick Rick rhyme from the nasal palate. Nas rhymes from the back of his throat. Biggie is a swinger. He swings like a horn player over jazz. B-I-G-P-O, P-P-A, no info for the D-E-A. He put more emphasis on the He's just spelling his name. But the flow, vicious. Pac, on the other hand, I think Tupac pulled from Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. I don't know when it is that we're gonna make it to the mountaintop, but one day all the children will be able to play together. All the children, it's like pouring those words out because you mean it. And that's why, you know, I never had a father figure, but I was raised by the thugs and the drug dealers. That's why I love niggas. That singing that Pac was doing in his.
I did not notice a Tupac and Martin Luther King. I was singing I Get Around in my head. I was like, oh, wow. Yeah. He does a yeah, I didn't recognize that. And also with Biggie, the Netflix documentary with Biggie that his family did. Fantastic if you haven't watched it, by the way. And it explains how Biggie got his flow. And it's through, you know, my family's bloodline. If I still, you know, Jamaica, you know, he got that from the sound clashes. While everybody was like, you know, rhyming over beats, he was like, yo, I'm copying the flows. I'm copying how they're saying. And he brought it back to Brooklyn. And I believe that he had a jazz teacher that taught him how to, you know, rhyme and learn how to do different chords. He put two and two together, and now we got B-I-B-I-B-B-A, B-O-B. I can't say it, but you know, yeah.
Listen,
okay.
Say it right.
I let that play on the album. I can play it on my title. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm just trying to set an example. Y'all trying to play me. If y'all listen to the podcast, I am being judged.
This is live. Yeah.
When it goes on the podcast.
That was the whole move right there.
It's steady wax now.
Man, Shock G broke it down, but I love it because hip hop. I think Kweli talked about this. We might have certain artists that we like, and we rather prefer a certain genre of hip hop. But Kweli was like, I don't think people know that we study each other's stuff. We study each other's style. We study each other's cadence. And I think when we was having a conversation with Ice Cube was like, no, we loved you from the West Coast. We loved your cadence. We loved what you were doing. You know, I was like, wow, I didn't know that you were paying attention like that. They all are paying attention to each other. And that's really to Randy's point. It's like there's this passing down. But that's also African in regards to that oral tradition.
Yep.
You know, if you have yeah, you know, that's an oral tradition you pass down. You don't write a lot of stuff. It's about, and that's all. I think it's all about that community, that engagement. You're not gonna get this unless you don't spend time with the elders. You're not gonna get this if you don't spend time with the community. You're not gonna get this if you're a fake so and so. Because I don't want to spend time with you. Well, I'm going to impart this knowledge and this wisdom on you if you're not even respecting who I am and what this is about. Right. So I think hip hop is as much as it's getting commercialized in some areas, I think there's still that essence that's still there that needs to kind of like get revisited and repopulated and probably reinvested in, you know. So so I'm all about if I can create the hip hop retirement home or the hip hop community center within my power, I'll do that. Or you've been talking about this, Doc, like having the hip hop nobody steal this, the hip hop university. You know what I mean? Like how could imagine some of these hip hop artists actually breaking stuff down.
Showing how you do it.
Yeah.
The universities are breaking over themselves, to hire folk, and that's good.
Yeah.
You got the Harvard Archive, Hip Hop Archive. Shout out to the Hip Hop Harvard Archive. And as you were saying before, Nas is like got a name. He's got an endowed chair, an endowed professorship named after Nasir Jones of Queens. You know what I'm saying? Queensbridge, son of jazz musician.
Jazz artist.
All of, you know what I'm saying? And just brought the best of what Black America brings to American music and always has. You know what I mean? The jazz, and then man, what a genius! And you do not want to make this dude mad. Remember some of the beef, the Jay-Z beef. Shout out and love to our hip hop elders and big brothers. Y'all had a scare there in the '90s. I was nervous and I didn't want to.
He came out. I was like, okay.
Nas is like, yeah. Shout out to Nasir, not Jones. Listen to me, Nasir Jones. Respect, yo. Respect, yo.
That's his full name.
That's true. That's the point. Brothers, our brothers and sisters who are in the rap game have full names. You know what I mean? They have given names. They have family names. Family that love them, cousins, uncles, aunties, grandparents, people who, are part of that legacy. You have to have something to say in hip hop, and those come from the stories, as you were saying, my brother Jarvis, the griot effect. You know what I mean? For our project where we are right now. And I don't know, maybe it's because it's a hip hop episode, but I feel the rhyme, that river, that, you know what I'm saying, that flows from jazz, hip hop, rock and roll, the blues,
spirituals,
all Black,
God
spirituals.
Yeah, that blue note. We inject that blue note.
We don't talk about that enough, about how influential our culture is. Yeah. We're not just a one-trick pony, we're not just hip hop. We are pulling and creating in so many different areas. We create blues and jazz and country, and how that it is infectious, and it seeps out. And that's kind of what my point was earlier too, about, passing it to us. Pass that to us. Why are we not talking about the Black people who have been so influential in country music? Everybody wanted to, what's Lil Nas X doing with this song? Do you understand that many people in the Black culture was influential in country music? Why don't you have a lesson in music? Why don't you go back in time and understand that? And I feel like that's the ignorance of our people, is that we choose to condemn versus actually learning, and we're not doing enough of the passing down. We're not doing that. I feel like, those who are older than us, they understood the necessities of that because they didn't have these sorts of things, whereas we are so much, into technology that we're starting to lose the authenticity of the spoken word, of the spoken knowledge, of the passed down knowledge verbally. And I feel like the more we can do that, where we can have the kids sit at our feet and tell them about the good old days, that's how you keep the culture going, and you keep it authentic to who you are and who your people are. Do things that, make your people feel good. But then again, like I said before, is we can't be so well, I don't have, so you shouldn't have. We need to get rid of that, because by doing that, and we're talking about things like block parties. That's what I'm saying. Have block parties. You don't have to anymore. Why? Because they shoot them up now too. You can't even
all the time
go to the block party. You can't, I was talking to my cousin who lives in North Carolina, and I said, I really want to go to this 90s block party. She was like, girl, no, you don't. She was like, 6 people died last year or 2 years ago. I said, well, never mind. She was like, yeah, I was there for like 2 hours and then had to leave because it was like,
don't get me started on Jove in Brooklyn.
Yeah, with Juve, even with Juve.
Forget about it.
it's a cultural rite of passage to be on the Parkway for Juve. You know, to do this for your culture, for Caribbean culture, to jump up and wave and all of that stuff. But people would just
being dummies.
And they just don't want to keep that. But and it's like we fight so hard to have these things, and it's like, you done messed it up for everybody. Now we can't even have those things because now the enforcers, aka the police, are like, no, let's take back because they don't know how to act. And I feel like that happens with so many things that are supposed to be for us. So we can't even have a block party, but we can have a carnival. It's the same thing.
Very same thing.
But who is the initiator?
There you go.
So I could go on all day about that.
Yeah. The fact that it moves at 6 o'clock in the morning and y'all still shooting?
Right.
Come on.
Right.
Who's getting up early in the morning and think all that violence in there? Come on.
Which can lead us to that self-destruction.
Yeah.
Video back
self-destruction. That's the song we need to be playing.
That's my song.
we need that.
Yeah.
Isn't that 89?
Self-destruction. Has anybody seen? Shout out to Kevin Powell and the new MTV bringing back the Real World. I don't know. Do y'all see it yet?
Oh, you're talking about the Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
That's my dude right there. But I haven't watched it.
Just putting a plug in for that Paramount app. If you get the Paramount app, it's on Paramount, and they came back, with that original season of the Real World. Mm-hmm. And there's a sister on there who used to work with KRS-One, who was down with Boogie Down Productions and the Self-Destruction Coalition, leaders of the New School. Correct me if Brother Jarvis would know, but that whole crew, all the larger crew back then, leaders of the New School is what stands out to my mind.
That was Buster, Nico, and Charlie, and yeah.
Then that's the wrong group. So but shout out to them. Big shout out to them and the other group. Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. But anyway, the sister who was on MTV Rule is on again, and I'm blanking on her name right now. But everybody should check that out. But because there's another example though. She was a rapper at that time when Real World came out, and she was hot. She just had released her stuff and all that, and now coming back, another chance to be on TV, all that kind of stuff, and it's nice. Actually, everybody should check it out. It's a real good conversation between her and our brother Kevin Powell, who is a friend of the show. We're gonna have him on one of these days, and
have him on, man. Yeah.
Blessings to him, and just for bringing that back and that whole conversation about race.
Yeah.
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 But
man,
we had about
I think we reaching that mark, man, and whether our stomachs are rumbling or we've been chopping it up. But but definitely looks like we need a part 2 on this one.
I agree. I love it.
There's so much because we are talking about just legacy tonight, just leaving legacies and how do we do that in a better light. But we haven't even touched on just cultural appropriation of hip hop culture and what that looks like. And there's a lot as it relates to that. Fashion, we haven't even touched on that stuff, and just
language.
The evolution.
Not to say the N-word. Never. when not to say the N-word. Never.
Right.
Conversation yesterday. Like, there's never appropriate time to say it.
Never appropriate time.
Why can't you just don't?
No.
The who can use it, who can't, and who was invited to the party, who's invited to the cookout, just things like that, and just us as people, in general. So I'm part 2, 3, 4, and 5.
I love it.
Lay it out.
Well, we know where to find us on Fridays at 6 something time. Usually about 6.
Man.
We're at 6. We'll be at 6.
And now that we got the family back together, we made it through 2021, and we heading into summer. So the backyard barbecue is an appropriate metaphor, my sister, and that is it. That's what we're gonna do. Who's invited? Who's coming? And we're gonna have a call-in feature soon so that we can get our other friends and guests on here. We want to thank Facebook for supporting the Rejected Stone podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you, Facebook, for the grant that makes the thing funny. So we thank you all basically just for people being on and shout out, Brother Randy, you've been doing your thing on IG. Anything you want to? Maybe we just do a quick round of anything you want to shout out real quickly, and then we close it out on tonight. We're going a little extra today.
It's getting funky. Listen, when you said the Boogie Down production, I was like, that is in my head. Anyways, thanks for inviting me. I appreciate it. Jarvis last minute was like, hip hop. I was like, I'm not hip hop. That's what we got to talk about. But yeah, if y'all want to find me, as I said, I am a music enthusiastic, whatever that word is.
Enthusiast.
Pretty much on social media. Yeah, that word. Yes, thank you. I'm pretty much on social media, just doing music. So I have a curated playlist page. A lot of people are doing that playlist curation. So I do have that. It's called at Curated by Randy. You can find me on IG, Twitter, Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook. I'm trying to be out there. So, just at Curated by Randy. Nobody owned it but me. So you can find that. And then also, I am also a DJ. And I'm trying to get out there now. I'm trying to promote my services. So you can also find me at DJ__RMX. It's important that you put the 2 underscores. Don't put the 1 underscore because that ain't me. Put the 2 underscores. That's me.
All right.
That's me. Thank you. I'll pass it to Raina.
Oh.
The other R. The better R.
The double R.
I cannot. Yeah, I mean, y'all know I dip and dabble in a lot of little things. So, I'm team graphic artist by night, I guess, and, just doing all that stuff. So hit me up. You can find me. You need some flyers and some cool stuff, just whatever social media, anything going on. Definitely dipping into that. We started our own little Instagram and YouTube page. Curly girl living in Maryland. Just loving all that. So per your enthusiasm, it definitely is full swing. So yeah, my roommate and I, my line sister and I, we started our own page. So all the graphics and stuff is definitely done by me. But yeah, just find us on there. Definitely, my other platforms to kind of just express myself, and we give healthy tips about us being on keto, losing weight, tackling your hair, being a, fly girl, all of that good stuff.
All right.
There we go. Okay, living color. You said fly girl. How'd it go then?
Yes.
That's right. That's your on IG, right? The RAYLINSIN.
RAYLY. Yeah.
All right.
That's what's up.
I know Randy about to say something to cut him off. Yeah.
I got jokes for me.
I'll let Doc roll us out, but I just want to say thank y'all for picking up the phone, picking up the text, and jumping on. I couldn't think about another 2 individuals that were added to this conversation that couldn't bring it any more clear or any raw or any more authentic than you two. And I really am proud to see where you all are presently, where you all are about to head. So this makes, I know for me, I hope I can speak for you, Doc, that we are definitely proud of you in so many different ways, but awfully proud about this conversation. So thank you all for bringing that knowledge, that wisdom, and Doc's out. Oh, go Knicks. I don't know if
yes.
Go Knicks. The main thing that I'm proud of is getting a new job and the Knicks are in the playoffs for real. I don't care what number they in there. They clinch.
We need our home court. We need that home court, brother.
Yo, we getting there. We getting there.
We getting there. We getting there.
Yeah, Doc.
Right on. Well, I just want to thank y'all again for a great round table. I apologize if I had a little echo. But okay, I think that's better. And thank y'all so much. You know, this has been the kind of conversation that we have been wanting to have and hoping to have for quite some time. And, you know, we hope we show respect. We love hip hop, and hip hop also needs to be loved back. So thank y'all for joining us. As we often say at the beginning of our show, Twende, let's begin. And tonight, I think we'll just say Twende once again. Peace and love and Wakanda forever. Yeah. Word up.
It's all black. It's all black. Yeah.
It's all black. So thank y'all, and you know, watch for us on the on Apple Music. We're also on Spotify, and pretty much all the platforms. Pandora.
Get that ad free, y'all. Get that ad free.
All right. Peace
All right,
out.
y'all.
All right.
Checked it.
Peace.
I love that logo.
Oh, we